Hello, welcome to Bluejay Chat. I'm your host, Nathan Meyer. Alongside me, as always, Dr. John Sample. And John, we brought Shannon back, didn't we?
We brought Mr. Murray back, Merrill High School principal, and one of my favorite guests to bring.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Thank you.
Now, it's a little different having you on and not having you on for graduation, but...
Yeah, it's good to be here mid-year. We've got certainly plenty of good things to talk about at the high school, and so I'm happy to be here.
Yep. So, John, let's start with the Board of Ed meeting last night. We had the Board of Ed. It went pretty well from what I heard, and not as long as last meeting.
Right. It was approximately an hour and 7 minutes last night, and that just is a true testament to all the hard work that's going on at the various committee levels. And so that's where a lot of the rich dialogue takes place. We have board representation on every one, with the exception of our subcommittee that takes place during the daytime hours, our subcommittee safety committee, which is a subcommittee to the facilities. And so, yeah, the meeting was very to the point. We still had good discussion last night, and so I like the new format with having a variety of committees, and then what we do is we take things to the board meeting that are action items primarily. Action items, donations, recognitions.
Right. So any recognitions that we should be aware of here? I mean, we like doing that.
We sure do. We had Matthew Palazzo. He received his Eagle Scout rank. And what Matthew did was a really cool project out at the Mark. He built benches, and these benches are going to stay around for quite some time because they have a composite for the seat instead of wood. And so the Mark now has additional seating with the benches that he did. So he was able to be there with his parents, and we're very proud of his accomplishment. Also, we had some more Mimic Foundation grants that were received with Claire LaValle and Jessica Dubois and Principal Heather Skutek at Jefferson. And so they applied for and received $100 grants for Jefferson students, and that's going to revolve around literacy and purchasing books and really contributing to the reading of our students at Jefferson. So that was really cool. And then a couple of big donations too that were separate line items. We had the Sonatag Foundation contributed $10,000 towards the final phase of the J Stadium project, and then we recognized, or we accepted the donation, a very hearty donation from the Friends of the School Forest. They did a lot of landscaping projects out there, some of those things that were much needed. And so the school forest is bigger and better than ever, and I know that in attending their meeting a couple of nights ago, there's some really cool things happening out there, and there's always improvements to be made.
Was that possible to have the school forest even better than it was?
You wouldn't think it would be, but it's quite a facility. There's something for everybody at the school forest, and so they're always working on improvements, and very, very pleased with the progress of the Friends of the School Forest. They're a wonderful group.
Right. So kind of going into our board meeting a little bit too, we had some unfinished business about the ALICE training for students, and we did a drill here not too long ago. Mr. Murray, can you tell us how that went?
Yeah, so it kind of came out of our safety assessment that we're doing it as a district. Dale Bergman had some safety consultants come in and assess every building, and so one of the components of that is to do a regular, I believe it's even annual or maybe semi-annual evacuation drill. And so we set one up for, it was probably about 2.5 weeks ago, and we just kind of prepped our staff that it was coming, but then got on the PA and said, we are running this drill, and the scenario was that there was an emergency in the main office. We didn't go into what that was, whether it was a chemical spill, which happens in a high school chemistry classroom or whatever, or an armed intruder. We just said there's an emergency in the main office, this is a drill, please evacuate and then we had identified our rallying point as the courtyard for that drill, so everybody evacuated into the courtyard. It went very smoothly. Our kids cooperated great, and it was about a 3 to 5 minute drill, and it was great. So if nothing else, people got to think, got a little bit exposure to the concept of the evacuation and the idea of the rallying point. And we did share with them that our actual rallying point is off-site, and so went through some of those kind of things as well, but it went very well.
Beautifully, and that's important, John, especially with everything that's going on around. I mean, I believe there was another incident not too long ago in California. Wasn't exactly a school, but I mean, still, it's out there.
It is, and safety is our number one priority for our students. So we need to keep them safe in order for them to learn. And so there's a lot of things going on with the threat assessment that the outside contractors are providing our buildings. Dale walks around with them. They tell us what we're doing well, and we're doing a lot of things very well. But every building has its own identity, and they look at things through a different set of eyes. And so we've gotten some really good feedback from them. We are coming up. Channel 7 did a nice piece. They may have jumped the gun a little bit saying that we're using the ALICE training curriculum for students. We're certainly looking at that as one of our curriculums for our students. But we haven't made a decision yet, but we had some good talk at the committee level. At the board meeting last night, it was understood that we're still looking at various curriculums. And so we're really focusing on safety. In fact, our safety subcommittee used to meet quarterly, and now we're meeting every 2 months because it's that important, and we've got a lot of good things going on. We have received already 2 Department of Justice grants, and so parents should be seeing a lot of upgrades to our facilities, whether it be a door in our entryway or some shatterproof film for our glass. So those are all things that unfortunately we have to be prepared for, and I think we're doing a great job with the work that Mr. Murray is doing and all the other building principals are doing, and just preparing our students in the event of an emergency. And that's not just with a shooting, but like Mr. Murray said, it's chemical spills. It could be potential fire, those types of things. So we want to make sure our students are prepared and still balance that with a mental state that we want them here to learn, and that we want them to feel safe.
Right. Moving on with the rest of our students and everything, the swim team did great, didn't they?
They did so well. It was really cool to be able to send them off to state. So a bunch of us at central office, we put on the swimming caps and waved to them as they received their police escort out of town. They did fantastic. I think they did better. I know they did better than they ever have, and it goes back quite a long ways before we look at a swim team that went to state, correct?
That's correct. We, Coach Winters has done a great job rebuilding our program, and it really starts at the youth level. And so she's been working with these student athletes since they were very little, probably 3rd, 4th, 5th grade was when they start. And so she's really been diligent and really brought in a lot of students, and they're committed and starting to see the results. The nice thing about this group is that not only were they the first team to win a dual meet in a long time in the conference, and I think they were maybe our regional champs or sectional champs. I think they were for our.
They were sectional champs, and then they also took 10th at state.
Yeah.
Out of like 37 teams, something like that.
And they're super young, and so there's not a senior in that group, and so the future looks very bright for Merrill Swimming, and I'm just really proud of those girls and the coach, and it was an exciting year for Merrill Swimming, that's for sure. Merrill Swimming's back on the map.
Yep, right. And football team, well, we won't even go into that. We've talked about that enough at this show, but our volleyball team did fairly well. Didn't quite make it to state, but I believe they were regional champs, or? They
lost in the regional finals to Mosinee, and Mosinee then went on to state. It was a very successful year. If we've been a little spoiled, 3 trips to state in the last 4 years, and so it's kind of like if you don't make it to state, that's a disappointing year, and that's kind of a good problem to have. That's a pretty high bar, but they had a successful year and a lot of individual awards. We had 2 students make all-state recognition as individuals. That was Kelsey Belfiore and Megan Schroeder, and so that was really great for them. And so it was a very successful year. Not what they had hoped for, but it was a success.
Yep, and I mean, you just look at it. If one of our sports is making it to state every year, that means we're doing something right with all of our athletes, not just a certain sport. So wrestling's coming up, and I'm assuming we're expecting at least 1 or 2 wrestlers to go to state like we normally send?
Yeah, I think every year you manage to get a small number of student athletes through the state tournament. I would expect that to be the case again this year. Yep.
So, and speaking of sport, hunting season's coming up there, John.
It is. It's coming up on
something we didn't talk about our beforehand, but I mean, it's coming up. It starts Saturday.
Yes, it does. And I tried to take a deer a week and a half ago with the front end of my truck. And so,
So did we.
Is that right? They're everywhere, except when you're sitting in the tree stand. So I think what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to get my truck as close as I can to my tree stand, and I'm going to turn on the headlights and just wait for them to run out in front of it.
Just don't shoot your truck.
That's right. That's right. But it is the season. We've got Thanksgiving with a short week next week. Students will be attending school on Monday and Tuesday, and then it's Thanksgiving break. Hard to believe that it's already here and our winter sports are underway, but here we are.
Yep. And our Christmas programs are coming up too.
Christmas programs as well. But lots of good things going on. In fact, speaking of safety, Mr. Murray, you've got a parent ambassador program here too, which kind of certainly it revolves around safety, but it also changes the culture and the climate of your building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We have, as you were talking about safety, Dr. Sample, I was thinking about, even 5 years ago, at Merrill High School, like many schools, you could walk in through the front door or the back door, or several doors would be open, and that certainly is not the case anymore. At the high school here, our front door, we run on a buzzer system where you've got to come in and stand in front of a camera and be identified, and then you can have access to the main office, not to students, but to the main office. And now this year, all students have to enter through door 12 at the start of the school day and have to walk past an adult. We have all our doors monitored starting at 7:20 in the morning. And so safety is of utmost importance to us here. One of the things that Dr. Sample brought up that we started this year is a parent ambassador program, and we are in our second week of that. And so it's kind of it's an interesting concept that we kind of stole or borrowed from basically elementary schools. And so the idea is that at many high schools, it's a challenge to give parents a meaningful opportunity to get involved in the school. Very easy as an elementary school to do that. I remember as a parent going down to elementary schools and helping out in the classrooms and those kind of things. But when you get to the high school level, a lot of times, you drop your kids off in the courtyard and you see them in, and then 4 years later they graduate. You may come to athletic events or concerts or those kind of things, but you rarely get to see classrooms or the inner workings of it in a meaningful way. So we started a parent ambassador program. The goal of it is that parent volunteers that go through our volunteer process and background checks and all those things sign up for a 1-hour shift per week, and they come in, they get their ID and their walkie-talkie and their keys, and they're basically free to roam. Now, we've done orientation and tours of the building and those kind of things, but the goal is to walk around, check doors, make sure no doors are propped open or didn't close tight, interact with students in a positive way. We really stress that we don't want them to be hall monitors, we want them to be ambassadors. So we stress that it's important for them to go in and interact with students in the library or in the PLT spaces where our students will congregate for study time. Interact with staff, check bathrooms, be a presence throughout the building. And so far it's gone great. We've got really good feedback from our ambassadors. We've got great feedback from our staff. It's been real positive, and we're looking forward to that to continue. We have 25 ambassadors currently. In fact, there's one here right now. And some days we have complete coverage all day, and we're hoping to get them kind of doubled up. So we wanted to get these 25 through a couple weeks, get some feedback, and then we do a kind of a re-recruit, if you will. So we're hoping to get that up to about 50. But so far it's been great. They're showing up for their shifts, and it's been fun. And then the last part of that is we want them to go and tell their friends and neighbors what great things they're seeing at Merrill High School, because a lot of times the high school can be a mystery, and so that's the ambassador side of it. So be an ambassador while you're here, working with our staff and students, but then tell your friends and neighbors what's going on there. So it's been really great. We've been really happy with the response and the commitments, and it's been very positive.
Right, and that just makes us look good, John, doesn't it?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, it's really working out well. It sounds like a fantastic program. Very pleased. Anxious to see the results of this too, because I really do think it changes the culture and climate in a very positive way and in a very safe way.
Yeah, and it definitely keeps everyone happy.
Mm-hmm.
So
we want to talk about the Fab Lab, though?
Yeah, let's talk about the Fab Lab. I finally got to go down there. It looks fantastic. Just the space is open, and there's a lot of cool machinery in there.
Yeah, and a lot to come. So what you see in there's probably, certainly a very small portion of what's actually coming in there. Many things have been ordered and are on their way. Our Fab Lab, first of all, starts with the support of the community. To pass that in a referendum and say, yes, this is what we want in the community is amazing. And then we were very, very fortunate to hire a guy by the caliber of Josh Zalewski. If you get a chance to interact with him, that guy is full throttle Fab Lab. And every time I see him present or every time I interact with him, I leave there thinking we hired the right guy. And he is incredible. So we had a meeting on Monday or Tuesday this week, where he invited in community members, business and industry leaders in Merrill, to talk about the concept of Fab Lab, but then to kind of take it the next step further and say, okay, what is it that you want out of this, you being the community, and how can you now support us in this? And so those discussions were very, very positive. It was great. He kind of showed them the progress that we've got so far and his vision for it, and got their input on their vision and the skills and the design needs of our community and those kind of things. It was great. And so I'm really looking forward to see what that's going to be. We actually start our formal class next semester in there. And as Josh said, he's got forget if it's 13 or 15 kids that signed up that don't even know what they're signed up for. They just like the concept of getting involved in something new. So, but then we also will start working with fifth grade. He's setting this up to work with the fifth graders on their makerspace and design work, and so he is the right guy for the job. And we are going to have an amazing Fab Lab. I believe it's going to be a real model for the state, a real source of pride for us.
Speaking on the students, I know the feeling of not knowing what you sign up for. That seems to be exactly what Media Productions does for our students coming in. Sure. But I mean, John, we've talked about the Fab Lab for months, almost years now, it seems like. And just to see everything kind of fold in together is just absolutely awesome.
It is. It's greater than I could have ever expected it to be, and like Mr. Murray said, it is with the support of the community through the referendum. And so it seems like we've been talking about it for 2 years. We probably have been, but as of that meeting last Tuesday, I'm still letting it all sink in with me. That's how excited we all are. As Josh went around, Mr. Zalewski went around the area businesses that were represented at that table, he asked them, what is your purpose for being here? And it was so refreshing to hear that every one of them said, we want to see what we can do for you, when actually Mr. Zalewski said, I want to know what our students can do for you. And so it's a true partnership. I can't wait to get my hands on a few of the tools. Hopefully I don't hurt myself or the tools, but it's going to be something that is going to stand out in the state. I fully anticipate that other districts will be coming here to tour what Mr. Zalewski and his team is doing with that Fab Lab. The flooring is down, the Bluejay logo is still yet to be installed on the floor, and there is still a lot of equipment and tools that are going to be filling that space. But it boggles my mind, and I'm very excited for the students at what they can do, their critical thinking, their problem solving, and some of the great things that are going to come out of that Fab Lab. So I don't do very well in fantasy football, but I will I'm all in with this Fab Lab, that it's going to really excite our students, and there's going to be a lot of great things coming out of Merrill High School.
Yeah, our tech ed program has been really one of the best I've seen in any district I've been.
And it is, and it's going to filter down to our younger grades. He's already got plans for involving the fifth graders, and to team a fifth grader up with a high school student, number one, is a really great thing. It's a great mentoring there, but they're going to be able to take a fifth grade vision and create it at the high school level. So really good things coming on, and it's going to be international too. He's got a huge monitor that he's going to be able to tap into Fab Labs throughout the world. Whether it be Ireland or Australia, so it's not just local, it's going to go international, and our students get to reap the benefits of the community-supported Fab Lab.
Awesome. Anything else there that you can think of? Or?
I think that'll do it. Real excited for a little bit of a rest for our students and staff next week, a time of, to give thanks, and also, this is American Education Week, so every day this week we've been sending out things to our certain pockets of employees within the district. a lot of people don't realize that even a district the size of Merrill area public schools, we have upwards of almost 500 employees here, and so it takes a lot of people to provide the education and the quality education that our students get. And so very thankful for every one of those groups, and it's kind of nice that American Education Week comes right before Thanksgiving, because it makes it pertinent.
Quick question, how excited are you for the holidays? Going to every Christmas concert here, or?
I am going to go to most of them. I was able to attend, I know we didn't touch on it too much, I was able to attend all but one of our Veterans Day Assembly programs, and those went extremely well. And I am excited to go to the Christmas concert. We have very talented students taught by very talented teachers, and so, you know, when you're paying a few bucks to go see something like that, of that caliber, that's a win-win. So I really do enjoy those.
Speaking of paying a few bucks, did you go see the fall play at all?
I did not make it to the fall play, and I'm still getting some grief at home for not being able to make time for that.
It was a good.
It was good.
It was a good show.
Yep.
Be ready for the musical, though.
Absolutely.
I think I can indulge this to our audience. We are doing Mamma Mia here at the high school.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I will be there. I'm a Mamma Mia fan. I may not look it, but I am.
I have not seen it yet, but I'm going to be seeing it about 20,000 times here coming up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is wonderful too.
so I think that'll do it, though, John.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. All right. So from all the guys here at Merrill Productions, I'm Nathan Meyer, Dr. John Sample, Principal Shannon Murray.
Thanks for having me.
watching Bluejay Chat.